Our homelessness crisis demanded a solution that could meet the moment. And today I'm proud to announce that we've met a major goal. We've increased our emergency overnight shelter capacity by 1,500 beds and created the ability to add additional beds as needed.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson achieves one campaign goal, even as the number of homeless on Portland streets continues to rise. Will all the new shelter beds really make a dent in the problem? And what comes next? The mayor is closing in on 1 year in office, so how would he assess his accomplishments and the challenges? Portland Mayor Keith Wilson, welcome back to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you, Ken.
Well, you've achieved one goal, but you have not ended unsheltered homelessness, which was another goal. Do you still believe you can do that?
Yeah, the goal was to make sure that every person, every night, for everyone who wanted a safe, life-saving bed to have one, and we've achieved that goal. Now the goal is to really start helping those individuals into that care. We can't compel people off the street, but we can end the tent encampments, we can end the RVs or the makeshift shelters, the livability issues that are causing people to lose their lives. And then we can really try and harmonize the city to make sure everybody has a decent, dignified place to be safe every night.
About 900 or so of those shelter beds are funded by the city. According to the city's dashboard, on many nights, half of those beds may be unused. We expect that those numbers will increase during the winter time.
That's
right. The other issue is that a lot of times people have to leave so early in the morning and they're out on the street during the course of the day. So are those beds really filling a need, or are they kind of a Band-Aid?
Yeah. Overnight shelter beds are a best practice across the nation. It's surge emergency care. They're really designed for life-saving care. Then we have 24/7 shelters that are designed for life-changing care, with the goal being housing, which is really to provide that overall permanent solution for somebody's journey through the continuum. The problem is we've left people to suffer and die on the street in unsheltered care. We focus on housing, and we've stopped that intermediate step that's necessary in a person's journey, and all we're doing is we added it back.
One criticism, and it's related to what we're talking about now, is that the shelters don't get to the root of the problem, and what's lacking is services for those people. Here's what one service provider had to say about that after you made your announcement.
What we really wanted to see is actually some systemic change. We wanted to see rent assistance for people who were actually at risk of homelessness. We wanted to see housing dollars attached to the shelter beds that we already had in our city.
How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I agree. You know, homelessness is a housing issue. We've got to solve that. But I also want to let everybody know we can't house those that are dead. And when we see the hundreds upon hundreds dying every year prior to my taking office, we can't let our Portlanders, our neighbors, go without life-saving care. So while I agree housing is the focus, we also have to focus on keeping people alive today to end the suffering and dying on our streets.
Councilor Avalos unveiled a proposal to use city money from other sources to address the permanent housing aspect of what you're talking about here. What do you think of her proposal?
You know, we are working together to come up with a solution on how we can care for the most Portlanders right now to meet the crisis. So we're working with her office and the councilors right now, and we're just working on what's the best use for those funds. So it's a good conversation, but it's ongoing.
Providing services also falls on Multnomah County and Metro in terms of the housing aspect of it. Is there a coordinated strategy between the city, the county, and Metro? Yeah,
it may seem disjointed at times, but we are talking, we're all at the table. We're not pointing fingers at each other. Nobody's taken their ball and walked away. It's been difficult because you're in the middle of a crisis. It's not going to be often a friendly conversation, but we're having very pointed, direct conversations, but we're moving the ball forward, and that's the most important point.
Are we still doing sweeps? Are we taking people off the streets, and where are we taking those people?
There's this notion that we're doing sweeps. We are no longer moving people from one neighborhood to the other. You see, we have shelters available now. We have like 200-300 empty shelter beds tonight. So what we're doing is our camp removals. We're walking in with outreach, and we're having tremendous amount of success, and the uptake from the street to the shelters is increasing at numbers we've never seen before.
Let's talk a little bit about Portland's Central City. There's
Sure. Yeah.
nearly 8 million square feet of empty commercial office space in downtown Portland, vacancy rate of 34% in the Central City. That's among the highest in the nation. Our second tallest skyscraper, the U.S. Bancorp building, sold for $45 million. That's just a fraction of the $372 million it sold for in 2015. Nordstrom Rack just pulled out of downtown. What can we do about this trend, if anything?
Well, the downtown core, our urban core, like any urban core, has got to be a place that we all know, love, is safe, that we can go to and enjoy. We're racking up wins right now. I want to acknowledge the Rack, you're right, the Nordstrom's Rack. I had talked to Eric Nordstrom's in that process. He had noted that he's struggling with it, and I explained to him that if we can provide a safe, livable area, would you come back? He says, absolutely. Let's get going. And so we're in that conversation already with them. But we are racking up wins, Ken. The Flock Food Hall opened. The new Nike flagship store just opened. The Portland Art Museum just opened. An extraordinary opportunity to bring people back downtown. Now we're talking about the James Beard Market. We're seeing a renaissance. Now we have to recognize it's fragile, but we're going all in on improving foot traffic. I was at the Christmas tree lighting on Friday night last week. The downtown core was packed. There was a level of excitement I hadn't seen before. Let's keep that forward momentum going.
Still, what do we do with all that empty office space downtown?
Yeah, net absorption is really critical. So I'll be talking and unveiling some economic driver, some revitalization programs over the next several weeks. One of them is bringing retailers back to our downtown core, helping open those buildings to opportunities for businesses to move back into that core. We're working on a strategy. We'll be unveiling that in the next couple weeks.
Will it take some creative thinking in order for that to happen?
Absolutely. We're going to have to kickstart. There's some grants we're looking at, business license tax changes. There's a host of different opportunities. But also we're looking at office or residential conversions. So we announced our first conversion. It's the Casket building downtown. We have to go all in with helping these buildings redevelop and become multi-use, retail focused, but changing their use into mixed use. We have to change our thought process of what a modern downtown looks like. Other cities are having success. New York, Chicago, Portland needs to really start focusing on that, converting office towers into different mixed-use purposes.
We've only got a little less than 2 minutes left, but I want to talk about the deflection center, the Multnomah County Deflection Center, to help deal with open drug use in the city. The numbers show it's really not working in terms of utilization, and Multnomah County DA Nathan Vasquez says he wants tougher standards starting in January. So where do you see deflection now, and how can we make that work?
Yeah, it's not meeting the measure. We started it to focus on life-saving care for those that are suffering addiction. I think it's about 2 a day that they're seeing, yet we see people suffering on the street. Do we constantly focus on continuous improvement? Yes. And that's what DA Vasquez is looking at right now. So he's working with the county chair, he's working with the commissioners. What can we do to reimagine and help people into that system to provide better care? I'm all in this discussion. We have to continue to change the process until it's working completely.
What's your next immediate goal? What do you want to get done, like right at the beginning of the year?
We have to focus on reducing the pressure on our public safety system. We have to reduce response times, improve safety in our community, and we're doing that. But we have to now, with our focus on unsheltered homelessness and shelter, we now need to bring that same tenacious approach on housing and activating vacancies right now. We've got to help people move from shelter into housing, because that's how we end our crisis in the community.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson, thank you very much for returning to Eye on Northwest Politics.